Welcome, everyone, to Let's Talk About Love, an all new show. This is a special show only for members. If you would like to be a guest speaker, simply sign up for free at payhip.com/yourquestforlove. When you become a free member, you'll receive access to watch my 1 hour video, and you'll also receive a free copy of my digital book after our show together, should you be selected. My website link is down below, and today's guest is Meagan F. Clements, who is a returning guest on this channel from a previous show. Be sure to watch our previous show together. The link for that will also be down below. Meagan, go ahead and remind everyone a little bit about yourself, and feel free to announce anything that you have going on that you'd like to promote as well before we begin.
Hi, my name is Meagan F. Clements. I am a children's self-help, poetry, and spiritual book author. Currently, I am working for a music platform. The platform is UBloom, and I just got a chance to interview a very awesome musician by the name of Timmy Ruff, and I have that article that will be landing on ubloom.com. That's YOUBLOOM.com very soon.
All right, awesome. Let's go ahead and get into the topic of your choice was struggling to find someone. I have here your situation here. You want to find someone conservative, clean-cut looking guy, which means absolutely no piercings or tattoos, but you're concerned that no guy is going to find you attractive due to your purple hair and piercings, correct?
That is correct. And I want to clarify, I'm not adamantly against tattoos or piercings on a guy. Just tastefully done. Maybe somebody that's not as wild and free spirited, so to speak. I'm kind of the free spirit one. I'm the creative writer. I'm the kind of the fun one, so to speak, in the relationship. So maybe somebody that's just a little bit more understated if they've got a tattoo, maybe not just shouting at you if they've got like a piercing. Maybe it's just something that's not shouting, and maybe that their general attire is a little bit more laid back and not quite as artistic in expression as maybe the way I present myself.
Before we jump into my advice, let me go ahead and reiterate what you mentioned before. It seems to be that you have some opposition going on here in your social circle, where everyone is always telling you that you're not going to have a good time. You're going to have a hard time finding a guy because the clean-cut looking types probably aren't attracted to piercings and purple hair, correct?
Absolutely. One of the biggest misconceptions about me is I'm actually very, very introverted. I don't like working the room. I'm not a fan of small talk. I like deeper, more one-on-one connections. And people are usually surprised, especially in my family, knowing that about me, that I have this other side that's very fun and flirty and lighthearted, so to speak, and doesn't take things so seriously. So there's kind of like two sides to me. So they're usually surprised. They don't think that I would be typically one being so introverted and stuff, and not the life of the party. I don't drink or smoke or do any kind of recreational drugs. I'm not into going to clubs. So they're usually kind of surprised that for someone that doesn't like a lot of attention, that I would be comfortable just going out to, say, CVS Pharmacy or Ralph's Market and just having this bright, fun hair. And they're usually saying, I think you give off the wrong impression. It's hard to meet people on dating apps, and then you go out just running everyday errands. I live in a beach town where everybody's kind of clean cut and conservative. The guys are usually in flip-flops, shorts, and like just a V-neck t-shirt, not to be stereotypical, but there are probably more like, bleached hair, lighter colored eyes, people that are, at the beach. So their skin is a little bit more, sun-kissed. And there's usually that, what if you're given the wrong impression? And that's so frustrating to me, because of course I want to find love, and I want to find my soulmate and stuff. But I also, I don't look at myself when people say, well, this hair color would look great on you. I don't look at myself and just feel fun and feel like the creative writer that I am when I have just, I don't know, brown hair or, like natural highlights. Like I want to be fun. Like life is short. Like, I spend too much time as an introvert. I don't go to clubs and drink and party and smoke and any of that stuff. So why not be fun in other ways? It's harmless.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, it seems to be since the beginning of time, we live in a heavily conservative world in all different types of cultures where that's just a big no no. Putting piercings on, or, I mean, there are cultures that support tattoos, like tribal tattoos and whatnot, but we're not talking about that. We're talking mainly about the typical Western world where just because you're so different, and like you said, you're an introvert, so they're extra harsh on you because if they criticize you and you show them that it's working, it's not weakness, but to them it is. So if you kind of bend a little bit to their criticism, which they have no business criticizing you. We all know that it's a mostly conservative world, but they should keep their opinions to themselves. The classic, if you have nothing good to say, don't say it at all. A lot of people, they're very stubborn because it's a form of jealousy that you're being so expressive. For instance, I grew up listening to techno music, and when you watch the techno music videos, there's pink hair, blue hair, women, and purple hair, and it's beautiful. I mean, what I like the variety of artistic expression, especially when it comes to sensual and sexual expression, because you are a woman. Men, they could also express themselves in a sensual sexual way, but typically it's more men who are in touch with their feminine side. I'm not talking about homosexuals. I'm talking about just typically heterosexuals, which, once again, most of the world accepts as normal, conservative. We got that. But in your case, my first piece of advice would be this. You have to be extremely bold if you are to be successful with the ideal partner, right? Your purple hair, in my humble opinion, and piercings even, or tattoos if you have any, are a filter, a very important filter, where you simply ignore all of the guys, because you know there's going to be a lot, who are not open-minded enough. They're very closed-minded, conservative, which is fine. They do them, but you got to do you. To consider you as a potential partner. We all know that it's going to be a no. That's fine, because you don't want those people anyway. You want open-minded people. So candidates, only pay attention to the guys that live more on the wild side, as you said. Like, you're not an extrovert, but there's introverts where it's party time, so they dip in and out of extrovert, introvert. I think all of us are an extrovert to a certain extent. I grew up as an introvert. Now I'm more extrovert than ever, but you won't see me at a party dancing because I don't really dance. I never really got into it. Never got into drinking beer or any of that. I'm very social, but in my own style. You have to find your equal, a good candidate. It's not that your soulmate is one person out of a billion people. That's not how it works. It's a person who's willing to go the distance with you, who's open-minded enough. There's red flags where, no, I don't see them changing. Their mind is already made up, right? So, everyone has their equal, someone who is a perfect candidate for you. So what do you have to say about that first piece of advice?
I've actually, I agree with that. And actually, I've gotten very comfortable being alone. I feel like you can't come from that space of I need this in my life and I have to have it. You can't come from a place of there's a very important coach online that his YouTube channel is The Power of Quiet. His name is Christopher Dillard, and he always says you can't want and have at the same time. And so I feel like I can't want love and have it at the same time. So I have to be comfortable not having it and just comfortable expressing myself, regardless of what the world thinks. I think sometimes, even though I'm so comfortable, um, in my own skin with who I am, and I have a great job, working for a music platform, in addition to my children's books, which is very creative and allows me that flexibility to dress and look as I want. I think all of that contributes to me being very secure in who I am as a person. I think you did touch on the fact, that there might be a little bit of jealousy in others. And that resonated with me because I do wonder if sometimes people are looking to criticize and eventually have me fall on the sword. Okay, I give in. You were right. I have to change in this way to find this. And they're starting to see that I haven't had to change yet, because so far I have, obviously what I do with my children's books is totally, it's creative and I'm working for myself. So I have that freedom to look and dress as I want. Now I have this cool side hustle working for a music platform to supplement my income. And now they're seeing, oh, now she landed that. So she's not in that box of like, well, what are you going to do if you can't make it as an author? What are you going to do if you have to go out and find work as a secretary? What do you do if you have to go find work, even in a retail store where the rules are you can't have colored hair, you can't have more than so many earrings on your ear. Now they're finding out that even that's not true because I found this great side hustle for this music platform. So I think that's what's frustrating, is wanting people to just drop it, like when it's not when am I gonna cave and finally come around to them, it's when are you gonna just give up and say, sort of like, haha, I won, I did it, I made it happen. And I think that's more it than, so to speak, like finding that person.
It sounds like you have a lot of unnecessary stress put onto you by external factors. And I don't agree with that, coach. Quiet, I believe silence is weakness, and I have a lot to prove about it, but I'm not here to clash with other coaches or anybody with other such advice, because this is the way I see it. Love is everything in this life, and the noise that, unfortunately, the stress that hinders you from achieving that goal that everybody should naturally have, any man or woman, that is the saddest part, because you have to tune out from those people if you are to succeed. Because let me tell you something, it's worth it. Love didn't fall in my lap. I had to fight for it. And I didn't have to claw for it because, thankfully, I'm a smart guy. So I made the right decisions, always being a gentleman. But I did butt heads in my relationship in the beginning. The first 10 years were clashing with ridiculous, silly arguments. Many people would have just broken up. I said, no, this is worth it. I want to dedicate my entire life to you. It's a beautiful thing when you earn it. Nowadays, I see so many ridiculous clowns promoting, I'm just going to live alone because, no. You wouldn't be saying that had you have been successful. So stop focusing on the negative and other people in the peanut gallery who are only going to be crabs in a bucket bringing you down. So that's my second piece of advice there. The worst thing you can do is lend an ear or two in your mind to those people who say, yeah, just live alone, and they're pretty much asking you to hang in the towel. No champion in the history of humanity ever hung up their towel and said, you know what, this battle that we're going to win to conquer this land, yeah, you know what, we're probably all going to die, so let's just, let them conquer us and kill us all. Nobody ever said that. And love doesn't have to be a battlefield. Love is nothing but opportunity. That's why I even open up this new show, Traveling Adventures, because it might not be in the place where you are now. It might be in the next city, the next state, or the next country or next continent. It's how bad do you want it? Because you can, contrary to what you heard, you can want and have anything you want as long as it's realistic. Love is one of the easiest things you could have, but you have to work for it. So how bad do you want it? Because we're not here to work ourselves like little slaves, pay bills, and die. That's not a happy life. Like, you can Netflix and chill and hope and never get anything that you want. That's not happiness. You can have that happiness, but it takes two to tango. So tune out of the miserable ones who don't know what love is. They're going to be promoting that trash, saying, well, you know what, just be comfortable being alone because, that blah, 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 blah. It's all garbage. Winners, they focus on the prize. The prize is your happiness. There's a lot of beautiful men out there, inside and out. They would love to be with someone like you. You're passionate about the work you do, but that's not everything. You have a personality. You like to have fun. That's what love is. It's nothing but fun. How strong is your willpower to want to achieve that goal? Forget about everybody else, even your family, friends, everybody you've ever, I don't care if they're coaches or professionals, put them in the garbage bin. What do you really want, right? Because you said a conservative guy, maybe if he has this or that, what are you really seeking as far as a personality in another man as a good candidate?
I have never successfully had a relationship where my partner was truly interested and invested in my passions and what I do. And I am so accomplished right now with where I'm at with the 31 books that I have self published, with the great new job that I have as a music journalist working for UBloom, the music platform. And I would love to share that with somebody. I would love somebody that is actually curious and interested and wants to visit my website and wants to, like, see the latest book that I put out, wants to thumb through it or even read a page and say, like, wow, like, you're such a great writer. Like, I've never read a book that, pulled me in like that, from the first page, until the 50th page. Like, I want someone that, hears about the new interview that I just got, like I said, with the musician Timmy Ruff, the frontman of the New Roses. Visit at the New Roses on Instagram or thenewroses.com if you want to learn more. And I want someone to be like, wow, that's so cool that you landed an interview with that musician that you just love. And wow, he sounds like such a nice person. It makes me want to check out his music. So I've never had a partner that was really that interested in my passions. So that would be like the first thing, is find someone that is interested in the things that I'm interested in. They don't have to be a writer. They can care about football or tennis or, be a CPA or whatever, an accountant. Like, I don't care what they do, but I just want someone that shares in my passions, even if it's not something they're like, I'm really passionate about music, hence the music platform I write for. I would love someone that, even if it's not, I want to go to that AC/DC concert with you. It's, I love that you love it and I'm happy for you. And so I feel like that's what I've been missing in a partner.
Well, it sounds like you have all the opportunity in the world because lots of men are interested in music, reading books. Like I always said in a previous show that I did, Stop Dating Losers, that show was all about stop playing the dating game because you're trying to fast forward what should be a steady process of getting to know somebody else who's like minded. So, my last bit of advice to you would be to focus on friends of the opposite sex. It doesn't mean you have to tell them, hey, I hope our friendship grows into the next level. No, only if you have somebody who you're really vibing with. Because I know you go out, I've seen Instagram posts where you go out to meetings and you meet people. That's the time to mingle, but in a friendship way. Because it's very difficult in that setting because everybody's there for a sole purpose, to share like minded whatever. But just conversations is going to be your ticket in this case. If it's not through those meetings where that would be an easy catch, so to speak, of somebody, a potential candidate. The clubs, I would totally avoid them. Whichever store you go to, sure, you could meet somebody, but the chances of that is really slim. My final piece of advice, friendship has to be the goal. People want to do the most minimal effort and expect the greatest rewards. It just doesn't work that way. You have to slowly get to know somebody who is eager to get to know you first. I know that sounds very simple, but that's exactly how it starts. That's how my relationship started. Friendship is a must. We weren't even expecting to take it to a next level. It just naturally happened because we were so into what we both do together. And that's going to be the same formula because it never changes. This formula is always the same for love to have a chance to grow, because you have to fall in love first, but you can't get there by dating. That's just like hoping, spray and pray. It's just not going to likely work. It could work, but the chances are very slim. You have to click with somebody on a level of friendship. The obvious sign, the green flag, would be, hey, I'm really interested in yada yada from you, whether it's the music part, your gustos, or your work. It's got to be something above average. That's something to work with. But if you don't get yourself out there, then of course this happens to the men out there who they have their hopes low too. They're just hoping that something will happen without doing much of anything, and they start listening to people who start promoting being alone and just giving up, and that's just a complete failure at that point, because it's like, well, you were, doesn't matter what the world is like, you're never going to win with that type of attitude. So do you have any candidates that they might make a good friend to start with?
I don't. That's probably part of my problem, is that being such an introvert, and I spend so much time writing on my laptop, that it's a little difficult for me to get out there. And when I do get out there, I'm not always, I think maybe I struggle with, like, when I do get out there, some of the like, if you're at a concert, the likelihood that you're going to meet someone in a loud, like, concert is probably slim. You're just there to listen to the music, but other things, like, I'm into like poetry readings, and like, I go to like arts and crafts fairs where I sell my books, and I'm around people that make like jewelry and earrings, and like maybe an older guy in his 50s or 60s that, does woodworking, and he's selling, handmade, like, cutting boards for the kitchen, that are made out of like three different grains of wood. So I feel like my activities outside of my very introverted and quiet remote work lifestyle tend to lean themselves towards people that are like either like at an arts and crafts fair, at someone that's, an older grandmother that knits and she's selling her like hand knitted caps, or you're at a poetry reading and you've got like a bunch of, sorry to stereotype, but like a bunch of hippies. So it feels like my social circle maybe is not putting me in touch with people that could even be potential friends. I feel like maybe some of my activities and hobbies and stuff lend themselves more towards like meeting older people. I don't feel like I have like hobbies or interests that lend themselves towards meeting like young people.
All right, so that's definitely interesting what you said about the hippies. My final word of advice for you, Megan, is go for the hippies. Go for the rock stars, who don't mind an attractive young woman who loves to express herself like you do. I'll tell you that much because they are out there. Many of them are giving up on finding someone like you because there are too many toxic women out there who use and abuse men, or women who are too shy to start up a simple conversation with them. What do you think?
I'm not attracted to that type.
Who do you think would be attracted? Because I'm thinking somebody who has to be extrovert, but not out of control extrovert, like on the too wild side, because there's a wild side good taste and there's a wild side bad taste. The ones who are into substance abuse, especially alcohol, yes, they call themselves rock stars because they like music, or it's just a nickname, or hippies because they think differently. But I'm saying the open-minded ones, the ones who actually enjoy the arts and crafts. What do you think as far as your opportunities? Are they looking favorably or not too favorably were in your neck of the woods?
If I found someone that had a really respectable day job and was financially secure, but had a hobby where they liked playing guitar in their free time, and just, I love rock music, I love blues music. Those are kind of like my two favorite genres. Um, and and it could be somebody that just in their free time they're playing on the guitar and they like playing bluesy riffs, and wouldn't mind going out and seeing Johnny Lang or Keb Mo, or the New Roses. They're a German band that I'm still waiting for them to come out to the US. But somebody that like that maybe just wasn't a radical person, but just loved the arts and kind of did music on the side or something, and happened to like the same music that I like, the more bluesy rock genre, the Johnny Langs, the Keb Mo's, the New Roses, Dirty Honey, bands like that, but had a good job and was financially secure, and maybe was into the music and less the exterior, the leather jackets, the tattoos, the piercings.
Right. I know you said you don't necessarily mind because we open up the show by saying what, you said earlier about not necessarily tattoos or piercings, but you are open-minded if that's the case. I definitely would say not someone who has a ton of tattoos and a ton of piercings because it's a little too wild, I would imagine. Probably too wild in your case, but there are lots of candidates out there. Your main challenge is finding them, but that's not doom and gloom. It just means that the main weapon of choice, or the tool of choice, is conversation. Being more vocal and not paying attention to any roadblocks unless they're obvious, such as the guy is taken or he's not interested. Those are obvious roadblocks, right? Everybody steers clear of that. I know it sounds pretty cliche, but the more people you do talk to about your gustos in the right setting, I know there's piano bars and jazz bars, but even if it's not a bar, even if it's just a gathering of fans of such and such entertainers, or just to play just the right place. So you need the right setting. It's not really the goal to become friends. It's more, that's what mingle is. It's not, because that's why dating fails, because they're trying to be too direct. But if you're trying to establish a friendship, that's being too fast. It's just an acquaintance that maybe turns into a friendship, maybe turns into something else. If you guys are really, the chemistry's going good, you have to get yourself in the right environment first. You're a busy gal. The ball's going to be in your court is what I'm saying, because there's a lot of shy guys. There's a lot of extroverted guys who have no problem coming up to you, but they mainly want to date you, the most of them. And I would highly advise staying out of the dating game, because it's too dangerous, right? That's not what you're looking for. You're looking for somebody to really connect with, and that's going to take time. But it's not doom and gloom, as I said before. It's just a matter of, you're in the conversational phase. You're trying to explore. Like, I have somebody else who I'm coaching. She hasn't had luck yet, but she's out there. She's letting me know what's going on. And so you're in the same category. You have to make it work for you. There are a lot of opportunities, but you just have to pinpoint them in your neck of the woods, because I'm not sure exactly how it is in the environment where you live in.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, so with that said, Meagan, that's pretty much what we can do for now. But I will ask you, will you keep us posted on how you're doing with your search for the right person? How about, let's say we have a follow-up show for the audience to celebrate the moment you finally feel that you have met the right person, potentially, or you're sure, because that happens too. I have somebody else who, she swears that it's right. She's even calling him her soulmate. And I'm like, that's a little too fast, but she hasn't gotten back to me on that. But then we can go over anything relationship related when you finally reach that first goal. Sounds good, Meagan?
Sounds awesome. I'm all down.
All right. Is there anything final that you'd like to say to the audience?
Check me out on the web. It's at Miss M Clements. That's MISS, the letter M, and my last name, Clements, CLEMENTS, at Miss M Clements, no spaces, on Instagram, or missmclements.com. And check out ubloom.com, the music platform that I am writing for, and look for my feature article coming soon on frontman Timmy Ruff of the German rock band, The New Roses.
With that said, I will provide all your links down below. And for the audience out there, that's all for this show. Be sure to tune in to the next episode. Wish Meagan good luck, and much love, everybody.